Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 4 of my how to lay out a website tutorial. In the previous tutorials, which if you haven't seen them, they are above here on the screen. You should definitely watch them before you watch this one, otherwise you'll be confused. I have made the top header, I've made the left sidebar, and I made both of these middle parts, and in this tutorial I'm going to make the right sidebar and the footer. So let's zoom in on here and see exactly what we're going to be making. This guy right here where it says free ebook. Well, I'm going to jump in here, and all of the code or a link to the code is underneath of this video, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a div, guess what, that is going to contain all of the information for my right sidebar. So I'm going to call this right sidebar, give it a name, and it's going to be referenced by an ID because there's only going to be one right sidebar. And what do? We put a little comment so we know where the right sidebar ends, and then each one of these boxes in the right sidebar is going to be contained in a div that is going to be called right container, and let's comment that. Alright, the first thing I have to do is create the free ebook that you see right there on the screen. So what am I going to do again? I'm going to just create another div, and it's going to be called banner title, just like it's been called everywhere else I've used it. I'm going to put an H4 tag, and I'm going to type in free ebook, right like that. And then inside of there, paragraph tag, ID is equal to ebook form. Close that paragraph tag. But it's so tiny, I don't really see any reason to put a comment there. And then I'm just going to bold email, unbold it, throw a break statement in, and then for now, I'm just going to put in sort of like a junk input. I'm going to convert this into a WordPress theme, so this will work for now until I do all the PHP for that. That's going to allow people to actually enter in this information and get their free ebook and all that stuff. And don't forget to put another break statement inside of there. And then I'm just going to copy this, paste it in there, and type in name. And then I'm just going to change email to name, and everything else is going to be the same. And if I want to put that little submit button in there, input type is equal to submit, value is equal to submit. And that's all I need to do for that guy. And then the final thing I'm going to do here, put another paragraph in there, class is equal to, let's say you wanted to tell people how wonderful this ebook is. Well, I'm going to put some lorem ipsum inside of here, copy. Paste that inside of there, and I have no idea how long this should be. I'm just going to cut it off right there, and then I'm going to close off that paragraph tag. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start styling this so you can see it all get put together. So now I'm going to scroll up to my style area, and of course this is going to go into a separate file here, but it's fine for right now. I'm going to say right side bar, which is the container or the div that contains all of this information right here. And let's style this guy. Well, I'm going to float it left again, even though it's the final piece because it lines up better that way. And margin left. I'm going to leave that at 0 pixels for now. And margin right, I'm going to set that for 10 pixels. See how that works out. And then right container, which is going to contain each one of these individual little blocks inside of here. Background color is going to be white, which is simple, FFF. And border is going to be the same as everything else that I've created so far with this web page. It's going to be 3 pixels, and it's going to be solid, and it's going to be black. And again, margin, it's going to be 10 pixels, I think. If you've lasted this long, you know that I'm pretty much estimating all these things. I could have measured them all out inside of Illustrator or some other tool like that, but I didn't. I just like to estimate, because I normally am in a mad rush to get everything done. And padding is 2 pixels. And all I'm doing here is I'm using all the same numbers as I have used for all of the previous guys as an example. And then we have ebook form, and that's the form that's right here. I'm going to style that a little bit. I'm going to position it relative, and I'm going to move it up from its whatever position it is into negative, I don't know, 20 pixels. We're going to see in a second if this is right or not. And from the left 2 pixels because I've been using that a lot. See, this is where I am. Reload, and you can see that this guy's going inside of here. And I can see right away that my padding's going to be off actually for all of these. So I'm going to have to move all those around. But that's the only thing I'm going to have to adjust, it looks like, is padding. But you can see pretty much everything else is sort of lining up. Let's zoom in. All right, see? There it is. Look at that. The banner's perfect because I did that before. So I'm going to have to move this guy up some, the email and the form and all that stuff. And I can see here that this guy is not up as far as I wanted it to be. And the reason why is I spelled relative wrong. And now you can see that it's positioned pretty nicely. So what do I got to do now? I have to move this excerpt up that's going to describe the wonderful ebook. Excerpt and position relative. And we're going to move it left 2 pixels because that's how much I've moved everything else, so that should be right. And then top, looks like it has to go up a good bit. Let's try -30 because we've just tried that and it worked. And then color for the text, well, I know what that is because I've used that everywhere else, like that gray. And then font size, again, I've used this same 10-point font size everywhere else, and it's worked. Yep, looking pretty good. One thing I have noticed is the right container is a little bit too far down. So let's shave a little bit off of that. Let's try 6.9. There you are. Lines up real tight with everything else there on the screen. And that's all we need to do for the styling. We can zoom back down to this guy. Now we know that we got the book part and all that stuff all set up real nice. So what do we have to do now? We have to put those social icons, social network icons, these guys right here. We have to put those into place, so that's not a problem. Right after, end of right container, I'm going to create a new div. And this div is going to be called, well, it's going to have a class name of social icons. And I'm making it a class because I'm not sure if I want to put these down in a footer or not. And if I did, I'd want to keep them the same way and use all the same styling and all that stuff so everything looks nice. So that's why I'm doing that. And then I have to go and actually get these guys. And here are the social network icons. And I'm going to, of course, give them all the same widths and all the same stuff. So I have to say source is equal to dot images / Facebook logo dot ping alt is equal to Facebook, let's just say, doesn't matter. Width is equal to 40 pixels. Height is equal to 40 pixels. Class is going to be equal to social network. And then I'm going to copy this, and actually the RSS feed comes first, so no big deal. No reason to stress out. And in this situation, we're just going to put in RSS instead of Facebook and spell social network right. That would help. Paste 2 more of those in there. And in here, we're just going to say Twitter. And in here, we're going to say LinkedIn, because that's the name of it. Just have to put a little dash here in front of images. Just little mistakes that I make whenever I'm doing this. And we're going to go dot social icons. This should be easy. I think it's going to be 177 pixels because it's been done that way last time. Margin left. I know I want to have a little bit of a margin because there is a margin there. And let's just say, I don't know, 15 pixels. Let's see what it looks like. And then padding around these guys, or around the whole entire box here. See how that works. Reload. It needs to move over a little tiny bit more. Let's try 17. Reload. And that looks just about perfect. Let's throw it on 18 and then just quit. Alright, so that's looking good. And now we can scroll back down here again, right after social icons. And what are we going to do? We're going to create all those affiliates. And what I decided to do was actually to make these all self-contained boxes. And so that's what I'm going to do. And here I'm going to show you exactly what I mean here. Alright, so jump back into this, and then we'll go div class is equal to affiliate container. Close that off. These are actually going to be really tiny, but I thought, what the heck, do them anyway. Alright, and this is going to be so simple because all I have to do is basically create the banner part of this. So I'm going to go div class is equal to, I'm going to go banner title, just like I did before. And then I'm going to go h4 affiliates. Close off the h4 tag, close off the div. And now I have to decide how many of those I actually want to use. So let's say, alright, so if I want to copy these, affiliate container, copy, let's try 4. Then I have to stylize this guy, so let's scroll back up into the style area, alright, and it's affiliate container tab, background color is white, course, border, just like before, 3 pixels, solid, black, margin, right, 0 pixels for now, see where it works out, and then margin, left. 10 pixels because that's what we've been doing elsewhere. And margin dash bottom, I don't know. Let's try 10 pixels, see how it works. And then width, 177 because that's what I did in the last one. And height, I don't know. Let's try 150 pixels. And padding, 2 pixels. And let's see how that works. Reload. All right, looking pretty sharp. Ooh, this is perfect. Okay, I love that. Everything looks like it's lining up pretty nice. I think I want my margin bottom. Yeah, let's throw a little bit more space inside of there. So margin bottom, let's take this to 15 instead and see if that lines up a little bit nicer. And let's zoom out. Reload. It's not quite right. Let's take it to 20. Reload. And there you are. That's looking almost identical to what's on the left side of the screen. And then what I need to do, basically what I have a problem with here is I have some extra space on the right side. So what I need to do is mess with the padding in between all of these different blocks to get all that to line up right. So let's just jump in and just do it. So let's look at this guy right here. Middle column, I see that there's no margin left on this. So let's throw a margin left in there. Again, this is completely out of my head. Let's try 20 pixels. Reload. All right, that's too much. So let's try 10. I think it's too much. Reload. All right, so that's a little bit tighter. So let's try that with everything. Let's just go copy, and let's go for right sidebar and margin left, and paste that in there. File save. Actually, 20 is probably going to work. All right, so let's just take it to 20 right now. 20, and then we'll jump back up to middle column, change this to 20 again, file save. And you see this guy bounced down here. That's because it kind of collapsed on itself. So we can make that work. Let's jump down here again. Right sidebar, let's change this to 19. Let's try it to 18. And I'm just scrolling up and down, up and down, up and down. Middle column, margin left, let's change this to 18. File save. Up. There it is. It's back into position, looking pretty tight. So then what I got to do is I got to get rid of this border, which I have no reason to have. I only had it there to see exactly where my border was for the page wrapper. Boink. And everything's lined up. Everything's really, really tight. Everything's spaced well. Looking nice. All right, so let's throw the footer on there and end this guy. I'm actually going to jump outside of content wrapper because that's this purple part right here. And I'm going to create another div, and its ID is going to be equal to footer. And there's not going to be anything in there, so I don't need to say end of footer. I mean, sometimes that just gets silly. And let's say I want to put like a copyright symbol. You can put anything you want down here. My theme. Just to throw something in there. Because the big part is I want to do styling on a footer. So let's scroll back up to the style part. And with the footer, I actually want to use the same gradient I use in the menu bar to sort of tie everything together. So let's jump over into the menu.css code and let's copy that. So I'm going to go into background and I'm going to copy all of this information down to here. So this handles the whole entire gradient system. Jump back over into this and then hash footer, boink. Alright, so now we're going to have the exact same footer that we have for the menu bar system. So everything's going to sort of tie together. And let's say that I want to do a little bit of, margin left, 10 pixels. I don't know. I'm just sort of playing around here now because I'm pulling everything together. And like I said, there's a link to all this code and stuff underneath here. And I'm going to float it left to make sure it butts up to the left side of the screen. Width, let's try 1000 pixels. It'll tell me if it's wrong. Padding, dash left. 5 pixels. Height, I don't know. Again, this isn't really going to matter because there's nothing down here. I'm just going to say 100 pixels. Text align, and this is why none of this stuff really matters because I'm going to text align this center. So it's just going to center everything on the screen. Color, I'm going to make it white. Text color. And padding. These are some common things you would use, but since this is very, very, very simple, it's not going to matter so much. Let's file save it just to see how it looks. Reload, and you can see there is the footer. Get rid of this padding left. Let's just kill it. All right, it's gone. Let's just kill padding altogether. Margin left, don't need that either. File save. And there it is. Tight, tight, tight. So there you go. That's how I style the right sidebar as well as the footer section. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. In the next part of this tutorial, I'm going to create the single pages. Whenever somebody would click on more, I'm going to show you exactly what those individual pages are going to look like. And then I'm going to turn this whole entire thing into a WordPress theme. Till next time.